Hey guys, it's Buffacue again. Hope y'all are doing well. I am finally back amongst the living. For the last week, I have had the B strain of the flu that's going around right now. Missed about 3 or 4 days worth of work because of it. I'm just kind of one of those stubborn people that doesn't like going into the doctor's office no matter how sick I am. By the third day, I felt so awful, I asked my wife, please take me to the doctor. Confirmed it was the B strain of flu that's going around, so I've felt pretty terrible for about the last week. Finally back to feeling like my old self, got some energy back, and today, national holidays, is President's Day, so caught a break, got an extra day off work today, and also got some really nice weather. It's about mid-60s where I am, and thought I'd go outside and do a video that I had. Actually, it's a video on a topic that I kind of forgot about, something I've had for a number of years now, and had forgot to ever mention it to you guys, and thought you might be interested in seeing it, and it's my emergency bag that I keep in my car. So I thought you guys might enjoy seeing what I keep in that, and kind of what that's all about. This is one of the items here that I'll give you a peek at a little bit later. This is basically, I'm going to pick the camera up here. I have a small single strap, kind of all-around utility pack that I keep in the trunk of my car. And I'm going to give you guys a quick look at what I keep in this. I'm going to set the camera back down here. And I'm just going to get one item out at a time, basically give you guys a quick look at what I keep in this. This is not really a get-home bag. I like those bags. I like the ideas behind them. But when I started this, that's not really what I was doing. This is more of just a bag full of things that you might find you need should you be out on the road and you have some car trouble. You know, it's not really, there's not a whole lot of tactical stuff in this bag, a few things maybe, but it's more or less just a bag that if you were out traveling and you had some car trouble or something like that, there are a few items in here that may come in handy, you know, should you have to get out of the car and do some work, and say weather's not good, or you know, it's dark or something like that. So in the front pouch here, a couple of cheap little ponchos. You know, you can find these about anywhere. They're really cheap. They come sealed in these little bags. You know, they're pretty much a one-use sort of tool. After you use it the one time, you pretty much end up throwing the thing away because you don't want to try and get all that water out of this and try and save it again. For the cost of these, you're best off just after you use it, toss it and eventually replace it. I do keep a cheap little flashlight in the bag here. It's a little LED, just a cheesy little plastic thing. I don't keep it with the batteries in it, because as we all know, you know, if you keep them in there, they will corrode. I keep the batteries separate, but that's just a spare little flashlight that I always keep in the bag, just so that, you know, if you're having to do any work outside of the car or anything like that, you know, you have a spare light. Hopefully you have multiple sources of light, but that's at least another one that you have guaranteed. Keep an extra pocket knife in the bag. This is one of my buck knives. I forget what model this is, but just a basic little pocket knife. You know, Buck makes good products. You know, not the best, but nice to have a knife. You never know what you may end up needing that knife for. And again, ideally you'd already have a knife on you, but if you didn't, at least you know you've got another one in the bag. Let's see what else we've got in here. Yeah, keep an extra little bit of paracord, just because that stuff is handy for anything. And it's also cheap to buy. Now here's one thing that's kind of different. This is just an old Lionel train watch I got as a kid. And I held on to the tin because I kind of liked the tin, and I've turned it into kind of a little compartment for some items. Have some things in here. Some will make sense, and some you may find kind of strange. Open this up. On the inside, of course, some alcohol pads, Band-Aids. That's not very surprising. However, inside the tin here, you know, things like Neosporin, some Q-tips, matches. I do have a little bit of cash down in there. I think it's maybe a 5 or a 10. You know, it's not much, but it's a little something. Chapstick. This is actually because I saw somewhere that you can use the Q-tips. You roll them in the chapstick, and then you light it, and you'll have a source of flame that'll burn a little bit longer than just a regular, say, match, because of course it's been rolled in that paraffin, so it's going to burn a little bit longer. Over here I have, I believe those are, yeah, these are, this is ibuprofen. I forget exactly what milligram. I probably need to check and see what milligram that is, and as well as I need to check and make sure that that hasn't expired. It may have. I probably need to go ahead and replace that. You know, a simple little Victorinox pocket knife. I'm not even sure which model this is. I'm sure someone can tell me. 2 blades. Officer, I'm not exactly sure what model this is. I just keep it in this little kit. But anyway, again, just another source of a blade. And then the reason for these coins, and this is kind of cool, if any of you are coin collectors, you know, some Susan B. Anthony's. And then some, the reason I have these coins in here is actually, at one time I thought, well, you know, if you ever had money in your car, say, and you're traveling, and heaven forbid, you know, you have a fire, you know, the car starts to burn or something like that, anything you have in the car as far as emergency backup money, anything like that, you know, this cash is going to be gone, obviously. But these coins, you know, silver, anything like that, can survive. And so, you know, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you, try to get this back on, these are just zip ties, and you have a fire or something like that, you know, obviously a few coins is not really going to do much for you, but, you know, it's better than nothing, in my opinion. You at least have some form of a few dollars worth of currency on you. You know, hopefully it's not something you'd ever really need, but yeah, I don't know. I had those coins laying around, and I thought, why not stick them in the kit? You know. All right, so moving on into the top portion. So I'll give you a look. Kind of that's all of these items here, kind of keeping that front pocket of the pouch. So moving on up to the top pocket. Yeah, emergency blanket. Again, this is something that, you know, is not going to stand up to a survival situation, or at least in my mind, I don't believe it would. But you know, if you're stranded on the side of the road, say it's winter time, not like right now. Right now it's February and it's 60-some degrees. But you know, if you were stranded somewhere, say caught in the snow or something like that, you know, if there is a little bit of sun out, this would at least provide you with some warmth. Just a little emergency blanket. It's small and it fits in the pack easy. Again, more ibuprofen. These are 200 milligram. I believe that's the same. Well, this one hasn't been opened. This is a brand new. Anyway, you know, this is something that is always, always, always important to have in your car. I also have one of these in the glove box in my car because this is probably the #1 thing you're going to wish you have on you or in your car, you know, whether it's if you have some kind of an emergency, or even if you're just driving to work or something. You know, if you get a headache, I get headaches quite often. I'm always reaching for either the ibuprofen or Tylenol or Advil or something. This is really handy to have. Just make sure you watch the expiration date. This one will be, I've got about another 3 months on this one, and I'll need to replace it. But this stuff is cheap, guys. You know, you can get a bottle of this at Walmart for, I mean, like $1. You know, it's really cheap, really easy to have, and it works, you know, so why not? Let's see what else we have in here. Yeah, cheesy little Bic lighter. They work. I usually have several of these laying around the house and in different places, wrapped around the orange tape, just so that if you dropped it, you'd be able to find it easier. The black lighter would kind of disappear if you dropped it in the grass. That orange tape's pretty easy to see, though. So there's at least another source of fire for you. Here are the batteries for the flashlight. I keep them, like I said, I keep them separate, and I keep them wrapped up in a little plastic bag here, just to keep them from getting any moisture or humidity onto the leads of those batteries. Okay, that's about it as far as those pockets. Now, opening up the main pocket of the bag here, I have, of course, you've probably been wondering, I do keep a firearm. Put the camera down one more time. And in this bag, I have a Kel-Tec P32 with a spare magazine. Okay, so I do have a firearm in this bag. One thing about this, and this bag is always in my car, you need to be aware whenever you're traveling, be aware whenever you're crossing state lines what the laws are. More than once, I've actually called the state troopers' offices of all the different states that I've been preparing to travel through, and basically just explaining, hey, I'm getting ready to travel through your state, and I know what the laws are in my state, and I just want to make sure that when I come through yours, I'm going to be, I'm going to be compliant with laws. And every time I've done that, I've always received thanks from the men and women I've talked with. They've said, not many people do that. Most people just kind of roll the dice and go ahead and do it anyway, and that's when sometimes folks get in trouble. So, in my opinion, you're better off make a phone call or look it up online, check out what the law is before you just go riding through different states to make sure you're going to be compliant. All right, down on in the bag here, a couple of Smart Waters, sealed up Smart Waters. Of course, obviously the seal's never been broken on those. And some, I think here it's, what do I have here? This is beef jerky, peppered Fat Man's beef jerky. Anything like this that's been vacuum sealed, this is not gonna last you forever, but as long as it stays sealed like this is something that, this is kind of a non-perishable thing that you can keep in the bag. You would at least have, that would help sustain, give you some protein, some energy, in an otherwise kind of scary, dangerous time. Okay. In the back of the bag here, I have one of these. I'm not going to open this thing up, but I'm just going to pull it out enough for you to see. I have one of these little first aid kits, kind of a more thorough version of the little cheap stuff I had in the watch box. Just all the basic stuff that comes in those first aid kits. You can get them anywhere. They're also not very expensive. I think probably somewhere below $10 for those first aid kits. They're worth having. Okay. And that's basically it, with the exception of the knives. Here on this side of the bag is my Essie. This is the Laser Strike. This is a trail knife. I'm going to do a video on this knife later. This is an excellent trail knife. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm kind of looking forward to doing a video on it separate later. But this is a knife that I do always have with this bag. It came with its own sheath, and I have that lashed to the bag. So always have that. And then on the back here, I have, oops, I'm hung up. There we go. On the back here, I have another edged weapon. This is just a it's kind of a ridiculous thing. If you wanted to call it a machete, I suppose you could. I basically just bought it because I thought it would be handy to, if you were in a situation where you needed to clear away some kind of brush or debris or something like that. I thought this would be something handy to have. It was really cheap. It's not a well-made item. It's cheap. It would not hold up very long, but it would work and it would be something you wouldn't feel bad about using. Okay, so that was the idea with that. So anyway, that's what I have in the bag here, guys, as far as just kind of an emergency bag if you had kind of a problem out on the road. Let me know what other items you think would be wise to add to the kit here. I'm always looking to add things or replace things. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Look forward to making the next one. See you next time.